Hey y'all, so I want to thank my 18 subscribers that I have right now. Like, I am so grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And I've literally only had my YouTube for like a month and a half, so it's crazy that it's continuing to grow. So if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe, because I'm taking y'all on this journey into my new reality. And basically, when I say my new reality, it's literally me just creating the life that I want and that I deserve. Like, we don't even realize that we unknowingly create the life that we live now. Like, we may feel like we have no choice, but we apply to that job. Like, we go to that job every day. You know what I mean? We had the kids, we got into these relationships. So like, everything that happened, or everything in our life for the most part, when it comes to what's in our control, we chose it. So now I'm choosing differently, okay? But that's not what today is about. Today is about being open. Being open and willing to keep your mind open to as well. And this is something that I had to learn and learned. It took me years to learn. Like, I am such a routine type of person. Like, I like to do things this way. I live the same day over and over and over. Like, and if something disturbed my routine or anything like that, oh my gosh, I felt like my world was crumbling and it was ending. Like, it's crazy how I used to be versus how I currently am. But that's the best thing about growth. Like, you should never be the same person that you were last year, let alone last month, and even last week, or even yesterday, okay? You should always be growing, evolving, and applying what you learned, negative or positive experience, to today, to the new you, to the new version of you, because we should always be growing and evolving, you know? It doesn't stop at adulthood. It continues to go, okay? You know? But being open for change. And something that I realized, as I said, it took me years to master, is like, I just don't like change. Like, even if it's change that I make, you know, I didn't. That's what I should say. I didn't like change. But once I realized that change creates more space for new things, not sticking to routine and doing different things opens you up to receive different things, because you're not in the same stagnant energy where you're living the same day over and over, where you're doing the same things over and over, you know. And how I started to change that was I changed one thing a day, right? So usually I'll get off of work, I'll go to the gym, then I'll come home, and then I'll eat, watch the same TV show, like while I'm eating. And then before I go to bed, I watch the same TV show. But now, like, I'll switch and change the TV shows. You know what I mean? Or instead, I'll like eat a little bit earlier and then do, you know what I mean? But I change one small thing about my day. I'm not living the same day over and over and over. And that's something to make yourself more open to change. And then also to realize how much of a routine you are living in. Like, we're living like robots, you know what I mean? And a lot of times we're on autopilot, and we don't even realize that we're on autopilot until we recognize it, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, or until you even watch this video, you're like, oh my gosh, I've been living the same day over and over. No wonder I'm tired. No wonder I'm drained. No wonder I'm burnt out, because there's no fun, there's no excitement in my life, you know, because I know what to predict. Like, life is predictable, but life is not supposed to be fully predictable. You know what I mean? We're supposed to make things fun. We're supposed to seek and find different things, right? You know, so being open to change, being open to new experiences and different mindsets too as well, will continue to have you receiving new things and open up space for new things. And think about it like this. Like, say you have a box, right? And the top is on the box, right? And say I put a bear in there or something, right? Or say, yeah, let's say that. Say I put a bear in a box, taped it up, and da-da-da. I package the box. I know what's in the box. I know what's in there. I know what to expect, right? But somebody coming in, outside looking in, they're like, oh, you know, that's a nice box, but I don't know what's in it. And I tell you, oh, it's a bear, right? It's a bear inside of that box, right? You can, of course, believe me, right? And say you're like, okay, I'm going to open the box, right? Then you open the box and say it's a dog in there instead, right? Do you get what I'm kind of saying? I feel like it's kind of, you know, it's something different than what you expected, right? So, but say you see that box every single day, and every single day I tell you, it's a bear. It's a bear. It's a bear. It's a bear. You're like, you know what, Kayla? Today, I want to look in the box. I'm going to open the box. I'm going to change this tag. You know what I mean? Because you never know. And then you open up, and then boom, it's a horse. You know what I mean? You never know, but until you're open to change and willing to take that action towards change, like I'm tired of walking past this box and you telling me the same thing's in there, right? But no, I'm tired of that. That's the same thing over. I want to see it for myself and I want some change. Like I'm tired of seeing that box. If something's in there, I want to know, and you know what I mean? So kind of like in that scenario, in a sense too, like you have to switch up things. You have to try new things. And like, even if somebody tells you, oh, this about that or this about that, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody else says, because at the end of the day, the only opinion that matters is yourself. The only person that you have to answer to is yourself. The only person that you're really living for, outside of course, your kids and your family and stuff like that, is yourself. Or who are you living for first? Yourself. You know what I mean? So it's very important to be able to put yourself first and also trust your opinion, trust your intuition, not seeking outside people and outside opinions in order to confirm what you think and what you feel. And once again, that is easier said than done. That's something that I just started doing. You know what I mean? I used to ask people, what do you think about this? Should I do this? Should I do that? And now I just started doing it. At the end of the day, I'm not asking nobody else's opinion, because nobody else understands my perception other than my perception. God gave me my vision, my perception of life. Therefore, it's my lens, and nobody else can say anything about my lens other than myself. And it's so true, because it could be 100 people in the room and something happens and they can remember it differently. Or they say, no, this happened before this. Or no, this didn't happen, this happened. You know what I mean? It's all about your perspective and the way that you view things. But you view it for yourself. You gain that perspective and that knowledge for yourself, not because somebody else told you or anything like that. You know, so being open, being willing to try new things is so important. Doing something that you have never done before. You know, you don't grow from being comfortable, you grow from being uncomfortable, right? Trying new things, and then eventually you do become comfortable. And for an example, right? Say you start a new job, and most jobs have training, right? You don't know the job before you take the job, right? You know certain things that may come with it. You may have previous experience that helps you in the job, but you're still learning the job on the job. Like, you know, you are open to the job, but you have to learn the job on the job. You know what I mean? It's the same thing when you're going through life. Like, you have to learn life while going through life. You know what I mean? But if you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, it doesn't open up any space for new things and something different to come in. And that is so important. So important. Even changing your energy, right? So sometimes when I leave work, right? I work with kids all day. So I may go into the gym and I'm like giving off the energy like I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to nobody. I don't want to be bothered. You know what I mean? But me being closed off, do you think you're going to be more open to something happening or more closed off to something happening? Just by my body language and my energy alone, I'm going to be closed off. You never know. I could have met somebody in there that's like, hey, I own my own business. I want to invest in your business. You know what I mean? But you don't know because you're closed off. You don't know what you can be preventing or from blocking yourself from because of the energy that you're exuding, because of the mindset that you have. And remember, your mindset really does create your reality. So if I think life sucks and it's horrible, what is life going to be? It's going to suck and it's going to be horrible. So yes, there has to be a little bit level of delusion when it comes to trying to align and manifesting your life, because at the end of the day, it's when you're trying to attract certain things, right? So if I'm thinking positively, then eventually I'm going to attract positivity. You know what I mean? Or automatically I'm going to start attracting positivity because I see it no differently. Does that make sense? Like, the mind is so powerful. Like, the mind can make you not even want to be here anymore. So, like, we really have to realize how powerful our mind is. Not all of our thoughts are our own thoughts. You know what I mean? That little voice that you say, hey, Kayla, or hey, you know, or talk to yourself, and that's your voice. That's in your head. But you also have your subconscious mind too as well, which ideas and random things will pop into your head, right? And a lot of times your subconscious is trained and molded by your conscious mind. So your mind of where you're speaking to yourself. So if I'm speaking to myself negatively, right, my subconscious mind is going to put a battery in my back and send me different things in my mind to continue to believe that. And then also too, like, our body and our mind are so like intricate. Like, literally, if you are very sad, right, and literally it's so hard to get out of it, like, you know what I mean, like depression for an example, right? Sometimes it can be so hard and so difficult to get out of these depressive episodes or these sad and discouraging mindsets, right? But, once you realize that a lot of times, like, your brain is feeding you different things in order to continue to get that same chemical reaction. Okay. So let me explain it a little bit more. So say you are very sad, like you went through a time period where you're extremely sad, boom, 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 all this stuff keeps happening, and like, I have no energy to fight and find the positive. I'm just wallowing around in the negative, right? Your body and your mind will start creating scenarios and start creating things in order to get that same chemical reaction. So you get a chemical reaction when you're happy, when you're sad. There's different things that go on in your brain. So your body and your mind are going to continue to find scenarios that will continue to feed that addiction of being sad, or that chemical release of being sad, right? So, and I know we've all done this. I know I've done it. And like when you're sad and you're like, you know what, I'm going to listen to sad music to feel even more sad, or to work, you know what I mean? That's what your body's doing. You don't even realize that your body and your mind is working against you to continue to get those same chemical releases. So that's why it's very important to be able to kind of like fight with your mind. Like, at the end of the day, if your mind thinks negative, I don't want to think that. Don't talk to me like that. You know what I mean? Like, you can talk to yourself like that. You can talk to your brain. You're not talking to yourself. You're talking to that subconscious mind, those negative thoughts. Because at the end of the day, you did create that subconscious mind subconsciously, not really knowing. But now that you know that you can change that subconscious mind by using your conscious mind, by that voice in your head, then you can literally filter out those thoughts. I done went off topic to a whole nother filtering thoughts, which that's a whole nother video in itself, in its own. But in order to be able to be open to receiving and being open for change, you do have to change your mind, so reprogramming your mind too is very important. And a lot of times we feel like, oh, that sounds impossible. That's a lot of work. But like, at the end of the day, if this is the life that you truly do want, if you truly do want to find peace and find happiness in life, then you have to put in the work for it. Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of times that could be your brain too. Like, your conscious mind is like, I want to do this. But your subconscious mind, like, no, it's not going to work. No, I don't want to do this. It's because it's used to living in this state, right? You're used to living in this stagnant energy. But in order to be able to be open to change, you have to change something. Whether it be one thing in your routine, whether it be your mindset, but you have to change something in order to welcome in more change. Does that make sense? But yes, so when you are open and you walk around, say I will go into the gym and I'm like, I'm open. And you can tell that I'm open by my energy and by the way that I am walking, the way that I'm looking at people, that can create more space for something to come in. But if I'm closed off like this, that doesn't create more space for things to come in, and it sounds just as easy as it is, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's very hard to go from this to this. It's so much, to me, I feel like it's harder to hold negative emotions and store negative emotions than just to let it go. But our brain and our body sometimes makes it feel like it's the opposite, but I promise you, it's not. It's not. You have the power. You have the tools and the capability to be able to change your life drastically, and it's a hard pill to swallow when you realize that this is the life that you technically chose, or I kind of say fell into. Okay, I'm taking partial accountability, but I fell into it because now that I am aware, you know what I mean? I'm choosing what I want, right? So I'm not going to fall into what I'm about to start doing because I'm actively, knowingly choosing it for myself, for my highest good, for the best version of myself, So with that being said, I encourage you to change one thing about your day, one thing about your routine, and then also implement that mindset too as well. Being able to recognize when your mind is telling you something negative and it's not that voice that you're talking to yourself in your head, and it's your subconscious mind, right? And being able to recognize what's a subconscious thought versus a conscious thought is the beginning start to changing and rewiring your mind. But that is the first step. So being able to recognize those emotions and those feelings and when they do come up, and then what causes it to come up, because it could be certain people, certain things, certain places that triggers that. And you don't want to keep being around that. That's something that you need to change. The environment is not going to change. You need to change yourself and be out of that environment. Okay? We need to stop expecting external things to change when it's all within us. Okay? So definitely, if you haven't yet already, subscribe, check out my other videos and hear all the different things I'll be talking about, because it's a range of different things. And I want y'all to come with me on this new journey. Like, I'm so excited. I have so many different things in the works that I have not said and put up here yet. But once I start, oh my gosh, like I can feel it. I can sense a new reality, and this is my choice. And anybody can start over. It's never too late. And I'm 24, about to be 25. I know I don't look like it, okay? But you can start over at any age. You're never too young. You're never too old. Like, you can start over at 40. That's okay. The only reason why it feels like it's not okay is because, one, your mind may tell you that, or two, external things. But at the end of the day, who cares about anybody else's opinion but your own? You know what I mean? And those people, your friends that you're cool with that are, you know, the same age and stuff like that, they may be like, hey, how'd you do that? I want to change. You know what I mean? Because you never know how you are impacting other people by just being you. But choosing to be happy, or happiness, is a choice. So you have to choose to be happy, and you have to actively make the choice to be happy. And the best way I can explain is like when you go to the gym, right? You start working out, and you may not see results for a week or even a month or even 2, but eventually you'll start looking back at old pictures and be like, whoa, like I've changed. It's the same thing when it comes to your mind. It's the same investment. You have to invest in yourself in order to receive better. Things just don't come up easily and pop up easily. And it may seem like it for other people, but they're flexing. They're lying. It's no, it takes time. It takes time to heal. It takes time to grow, you know, but you have to give yourself the space and the opportunity to be able to do that, and the grace too as well. Okay? So Divine Collective, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you on the next video, and bye y'all.